Ironheart has returned to the MCU with the debut of the first Ironheart TV trailer. As the young hero attempts to build a place for herself in the world, a new villainous threat called the Hood offers her a chance to seize her dreams. Little does Ironheart know, Marvel Comics' version of the villain is a ludicrously powerful gang lord who went from a C-list nobody to a top-tier menace. Parker Robbins, aka the Hood, first debuted in Hood No. 1, 2002, by Brian K. Vaughan and Kyle Hotz. The original comics were part of Marvel's 2001 imprint called Max Comics, which aimed to translate Marvel's superhero stories to a more adult-only reader base. Because of this, the Hood was conceived as a gritty, power-hungry villain whose unscrupulous morals savagely shot through anybody who stood in his way, literally. Equipped with mystically enchanted artifacts and a set of twin handguns, the Hood has done everything in his power to rise through the ranks and assert a criminal empire as his own. Growing up, all Parker Robbins wanted to be was a villain. Having watched his personal hero Electro tussle with Spider-Man for years, Parker and his cousin teamed up to start their own criminal empire, all to help pay for his mother's exorbitant medical care. One night, Parker and his cousin aimed to rob a warehouse filled with unknown but valuable materials. However, after breaking in, Parker discovered a seance held by a demon clad in a crimson-red cloak. Robbins shot the creature multiple times, believing it to be dead, and took the demon's cloak and boots before fleeing the scene. Soon, Robbins discovered that the demonic boots allowed him to walk on air, and his new cloak could turn him invisible while he held his breath. Now taking on the name the Hood, Robbins soon launched a new magically enhanced mission to slaughter his way up New York City's criminal underground until only he remained on top. However, little did the thug know, his new artifacts were extensions of the Dark Lord Dormammu, transforming Robbins into the demon's unwitting host. As time went on, the Hood became obsessed with expanding his magical knowledge, transforming into a well-rounded demonic sorcerer. While Robbins's growing mystical powers were acknowledged by the likes of the Beyonder, he made his true strides up the criminal empire by leveraging the constant chaos of the Marvel Universe. During the first superhuman civil war, the Hood gathered a formidable gang of escaped supervillain convicts and launched a wave of terror that eventually attracted the attention of the Sorcerer Supreme. Despite Doctor Strange and the Avengers' best efforts, the Hood easily broke through the hero's enchantments, defeated the Avengers, and killed Doctor Strange. This event would ultimately lead to Strange being stripped of his title as Sorcerer Supreme. During Marvel's Siege event, Dormammu hungered for the vacant seat of the Sorcerer Supreme. In New Avengers No. 51, 2009, the Dreadlord floods the Hood with his otherworldly power, determined to take the place of Sorcerer Supreme with Parker Robbins as his avatar. However, after Dr. Voodoo was chosen as the new Sorcerer Supreme, he stripped Robbins of his cloak and his powers. Fortunately for the Hood, Loki soon arrived and gifted him celestial Norn stones, restoring Robbins's magical powers without the constant threat of demonic possession. In the following years, another demonic possession would become the Hood's greatest weapon. In the modern age, the Hood has persisted through more rises and falls within the criminal empire. However, after being horrifically eaten alive and banished to another dimension by Black Cat, the Hood somehow returned with an even greater appetite than ever. Meanwhile, Johnny Blaze's spirit of vengeance Zarathos had left his host and chose the one soul who craved vengeance more than any other, the Hood. Soon, Parker Robbins became a ghost rider with unparalleled power that Johnny Blaze hadn't ever come close to. In the following weeks, the Hood engulfed New York City in vengeful flames while building a new vampiric empire during the Blood Hunt event. Ultimately, not even Zarathos could sustain the Hood's cravings and abandoned the villain to return to Blaze. As punishment for his failure, Mephisto scalped the Hood and banished Robbins to Hell. Yet the Hood once again evaded a dire fate and launched a quest to raise a mystical criminal empire alongside a reforged Darkhold. Now, Parker Robbins stands side by side with Lilith, the mother of demons, and her army of Darkholders. The Hood is a stellar magical threat who has kept Marvel's greatest heroes at bay with little more than his tenacity and hunger for power. Despite every loss Robbins has taken, he has always found a way to inexplicably return, with new plans to stage his conquests. While he began as a 2000 C-list nobody, the Hood has grown into one of Marvel's greatest paranormal villains, strong enough to lay waste to the likes of the Sorcerer Supreme. Unfortunately for Ironheart, the Hood is a unique menace unlike anything she or the Marvel Universe has ever seen before.